Okay, we'll try and do it old school, like SpeakEasy when we were met in real life. Do you remember those? When you'd get
Oh
up and
yeah.
maybe do two or three. So yeah, we'll do two halves, but it might be more than that if we get interrupted, because we're probably limited to 40 minutes. Yeah. Um, that
Yeah,
sounded like
it
somebody we
was
knew.
300
Use the sign in thing again. The same login and same password should work. And uh, I'll let you know when we've nearly running out of time. I know Tony Mason, you've got to shoot off by about 8 o'clock, so we'll put you on near the start. I'll put a little running
Very
order
much,
together. Okay, so it's January 2021. It's Speakeasy on Zoom, and it's great to see all of you here. And we'll make a start. I thought it was amazing the inauguration of Joe Biden the other week, where Amanda Gorman got up and read this amazing poem. I thought she stole the show. It was absolutely brilliant. And this is a little poem about that. It's called "The Girl in the Yellow Coat." It goes like this. The girl in the yellow coat, reciting the words that she wrote, she looks out at 400,000 flags, all rippling and waving in the breeze. Stood before leaders and cameras. No sign of nerves, she speaks with such ease. How we aspire to this unity, call to embrace our humanity. At times life's so hard, you just can't cope, but the girl in the yellow coat may just have restored our hope. And that's that. Thank you very much. And now, Tony Mason with his Reva story.
Right, I'll tell you how this came about. I've been doing a podcast for Heathlands at Home, and we were doing a chat about the Reavers. And February the 2nd is Candlemas. And there's a very interesting book, if you want to research it, called The Candlemas Road, which is about the Reavers. And about this time of night, everybody hunkers down and gets in. And I came across a poem. And I'm going to read you the poem. And it was from, well, I found it in a book by Alistair Moffat. And it's a modern poem about the Border Reivers written by William Ogilvy, who was born in Kelso. And basically, this guy ended up in Australia as an outrider and told these tales at campfires. So you've got to get the atmosphere right. So let's see how we go anyway. Okay. Last night, a wind from Lanamure came roaring up the glen, with a tramp of trooping horses and the laugh of reckless men, and struck a male hand on the gate, and cried in rebel glee, come forth, my borderer, and ride the march with me. I said, O wind of Lanamure, the night's too dark to ride, and all the men that fill the glen are ghosts of men that died. The floods are down at Beaumont Burn, the moss is fetlock deep. Go back, wild wind of Lanamure, to Lauderdale and sleep. Out spoke the wind of Lanamure, we know the road right well, the road that runs by Cale and Jed across the Carter Fell. There is no man and all the men in this great troop of mine, but blind might ride the border side from Teviot Head to Tyne. The horses fretted on their bits and poured the flints to fire. The riders swung them to the south, full-faced in their desire. Come, come, said the wind of Lanamure, and spoke full scornfully. Have you no pride to mount and ride your father's road with me? A roan horse to the gate they led, foam-flecked and travelled far, a snorting roan that tossed his head and flashed his forehead star. Then came the sound of clashing steel and roof tramp up the glen. And 2 by 2 we cantered through, a troop of ghostly men. I know not if the farms we fired are burned to ashes yet. I know not if the stirks grew tired before the stars were set. I only know that late last night, when northern winds blew free, a troop of men rode up the glen and brought a horse for me.
Great, very atmospheric, man. Thank you very much, Tony.
It's very much this time of year when you walk out for your daily walk or whatever, and if it's getting dusk, you can feel the atmosphere of wherever you are in the borders coming around. I just thought it was a nice winter poem to bring.
Tony, that was beautiful. Could you email it me to, please?
Sorry?
Could you email it to me, please, or Mark? Because I'd like to read it to Eva. She's in bed.
Right.
No, seriously.
I will do. Oh, I definitely. But it doesn't have all the old-fashioned words in it. It's more modern, but it is.
No, I think that's why it's accessible. Which is why it'll be good for a 5-year-old.
Yes, and it's quite scary too.
No, she doesn't mind scary.
Yeah, save it till the morning so she's not up all night. Yeah.
Oh, she's asleep. It's fine.
Becca, have you got some stuff for us for Tony? Fantastic.
Since I'm being 2 different people tonight, I'm going for the tried and tested hat technique. So Tony is a gold bowler hat. Obviously, exactly. Yep, there we go. I'm also for the first time trying to read things off my computer. So let's see. Tell me after if it looks weird looking at the screen in a weird way. Right. By the magnificent Tony Hendry. This one. I wrote this after the nasty orange toddler became president. Here it is again to wave him goodbye. I am orange. Cloud came like famine, starving us of sun. Those of us who were already pale by nature became grey as cadavers, then white as ghosts or inadvertent goths. After 2 sunless months, we were scaring children and attracting bats. Just get on top of it, I told myself one ashen day. Become a blazing sun god like Ra or Apollo, from whom mere mortals must avert their eyes. I researched the finest facial tanning lotions and hunted for them in the high street chemists. But the shelves were bare after a run on them. The same online, always product unavailable. Then, wearing a balaclava, I burgled the house of a neighbor whose face had started shining. He caught me at it, so I had to whack him hard, as my urgent need for a godlike golden glow trumped every notion of right and wrong. What were his broken bones, his loss of blood, against my wish to shine? Vanity trumps all, and the world will recognize my solar power. Yet, after a week using the stolen lotions, I am, at best, a work in progress. My face, which should be radiant amidst this greyness, is a worrying thing, all patchy and porridgey. I am still a mortal, and I am orange.
Thank you, Becca.
Thanks. I'm gonna read a second one by Tony as well. Yeah.
Okay.
somewhat different mood, but I'm going in. Sunny. Until it happened, he dwelt in comfort in the nickname given by his mum. From the start, his delight at the world brimmed over into streams of laughter, and the sun tangoed on tumbling water. Her ray of sunshine, her laughing boy, her laugh-a-minute lad. You are funny, darling Sonny. Forward, through the gates of irony, which swung open at finger touch, but now are bolted against retreat. Behind his back, or even to his face, neighbors and co-workers call him ray of sunshine, or laughing boy, or laugh-a-minute. They reckon that he who was sunny is funny in the head. Now and then, on the days he can't get out of bed, he thinks of when Mum said he wore rose-colored spectacles. What's them? He asked, but she didn't want to talk. He never understood until it happened. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Really, really terrific, both of those. And the hat comes off. And Tony, you've got something as well?
That's right. Yes, I thought I would a poem. If had from cold spells this month, and the poem, the poem is especially for those of us who feel the cold. I found out that there is a special word for us, and the poem is called Riolero. He starts to shiver in September. We are 3 jumpered by November. Cheeky nephews buy us thermal vests and hand warmers as Christmas gifts. There is a Spanish adjective for us, riolero, acutely sensitive to cold. The word has a lightness and a grace and delight to use it when facing winter's bite, when feet feel frozen, even if encased in fur-lined boots. It offsets weight of our fleeces, gloves, bobble hats, and greatcoats. And we who are Briolero, we sit at home as a January newsreader tells us that last year was among the warmest yet. We turned central heating up and look again at travel brochures with promises of tropical delight. They bicker with foolish snowdrops as they try to tell us it isn't cold. You are just nesh, they say, then die in February, as if to prove our case. Serves them right for using that word so vulgar compared with friolero, March, April, daffs, primroses, buds unfurl and blossom frosts, yet still we feel the chill. Why so? Is it the genes to blame, pessimistic bents, or just this ice age glacier of years? How we wish it would relent. And that's it.
Thank you, Tony. That was, well, I sent a shiver down the spine. It was cold, yeah. I think there might be some more cold weather forecast here overnight as well. So watch out if you're out and about tomorrow. Helen, have you got something for us? Yeah.
Yes, I do. If it's okay, I've got two things. Is that all right?
That's lovely. Yeah.
So this morning when you messaged me, Phil, saying, are you going to join the group tonight? I was a bit scared and I thought, what on earth could I present? And I thought back to some work I did a few years back, just after my daughter was born, which is a attempt of a haiku. Whether I've got it right, I don't know. But today has been an absolutely amazing day for me. I don't know if I can share this with you guys, but it's been an amazing day for me because I'm a visual artist, textile artist, and a company I work with has given me a contract today to make stuff, and I'm just so thrilled. So I've also got a poem about weaving and life, if that's okay. Okay, so the old words, the haiku. The soul weird darkens and ebbs together with rain, silence on the fells. As I say, I'm usually a visual artist, so poetry is tricky for me, but anyhow. Right, the weaving poem. The weaving poem is from Sarajanji Naidu. I don't know if anybody knows that name. But it's a Sarojini Naidu. She was a political activist in India against colonialism. She was an emancipator of women's rights, etc. And because the work that I do outside of work with a weaving company, I love this poem. I love it. So, weavers weaving at break of day, why do you weave a garment so gay? Blue as the wing of a halcyon wild, we weave the robes of a newborn child. Weavers weaving at fall of night, why do you weave a garment so bright? Like the plumes of a peacock, purple and green, we weave the marriage veils of a queen. Weavers, weavers, solemn and still, what do you weave in the moonlit chill? White as a feather and white as a cloud, we weave a dead man's funeral shout. I love that poem.
Right. That was really, really good. Both of them were great. Thank you very much. I should bully you into joining Speakeasy more often. You came occasionally, once or twice back in the day, didn't you?
No, I used to come down to Speakeasy, not on Abbey Street,
The Foxes.
coffee shop.
Yeah,
I used to come to Foxes all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Becca used to serve me wine.
It's because she's great. Did you come to the ones at the Source back in the day as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Pemberton was one of my best mates.
Yeah.
And his son and his wife, etc., are great mates of ours and our children. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. A long link.
Long link. Yes.
That's great. Well, he'd be chuffed that you're sharing stuff with us again.
But finally plucking up the courage.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you. Okay, we've got about 3 minutes. Kelly, have you got some stuff for us, Kelly?
Yes, I have. Okay, I'll try and read mine in the 3 minutes. As it's Holocaust Memorial Day today, I want to share one based on my own family history. It's one I wrote after I'd been working on a series of books about the Holocaust for teenagers, trying to edit the Holocaust. I delete a word here, smooth a phrase there, remove the repetition, modify the tone. The material is too raw. We must present it in a form that can be easily digested. The pictures must be carefully selected. They mustn't be too gruesome. Our readers mustn't turn away. It's too important. This generation needs to know. Books and websites are all we have. Even the truth must be packaged. It's paid work, and I try to do it professionally. Yet every now and then I hear echoes of another story, the one my mother told me of her childhood, the day her Lithuanian father opened a letter that made him bellow like a wounded bull, the day he heard that his parents, brothers, wives, and children had all been shot. That story was also illustrated with photos of the dark-eyed relatives left behind. He planned to earn enough to bring them all to Africa, but history caught them and their bodies fell into the pit. Under the pile of corpses lay his friend. When night fell, he fled, then sent a letter via the Red Cross to a Durban address. Years later, after the war, Grandpa's friend returned to reclaim his house, and was murdered by his ex-neighbours. No uplifting end to that story, just a final deletion. Yet here we still are. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly, that was really powerful stuff. Thank you very much. Have you got another one, did you say? Because we may have to pause here and we can sign back in.
Yeah, I've got another couple of very short ones, but maybe I'll come back in. But
Sure.
yeah, that poem is all absolutely true. That's what happened to my grandfather's family. So
that was amazing stuff.
Very moving, Kelly. Thank you.
Oh, some SpeakEasy regulars have probably heard me read it before, but I felt it bore repetition, and I wanted to do something to mark this day, really.
It was great.
Yeah, I'm afraid my next two are not very cheerful either, but I'm working on a sequence of poems using lines from the song Imagine by John Lennon. So I'll just read a couple of those if that's okay. This one's called No Hell. Why do we need those stories? Writhing bodies, the fiery pit, eternal torment, when we can create Bosnia, Sudan, Yemen, Syria, Rwanda, Bergen-Belsen. The barbed wire, starved faces, staring eyes haunt our dreams and memories. Never again, lest we forget, we pray. Then Mars wakes and the drums play. And then, thank you, thanks. This one is called Living Life in Peace. I remember bathing my sons, then drying and powdering each tiny crease. There's nothing cleaner or more innocent than a baby's neck. And peace sometimes seems overrated. One day follows the next. The sun rises each morning. Bread is baked. Children are fed. Those boys couldn't wait to leave Blighty, to fight for king and country. But so few return to play cricket on the green. I think of the dying soldiers calling for their mothers, and the mothers' hearts beating faster at the knock on the door. I see each one sinking to her knees as she opens a telegram. But history records the dates of battles, not the days when nothing happens. Thanks.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's quite profound as well. Thank you very much. Craig, have you got something for us?
In an attempt to not clash too much with what Kelly's just read, I've decided to change the order of what I'm reading slightly. I've got two verses I took from the Book of Bokonon, which is a fictional Bible type thing from the Kurt Vonnegut novel Ice 9. And then I've got some other stuff. So I'll just start with those. Tiger got to hunt, bird got to fly, man got to sit and wonder why. Tiger got to sleep, bird got to land, man got to tell himself he understand. And then, let us start our republic with a chain of drugstores, a chain of grocery stores, a chain of gas chambers, and a national game. After that, we can write our constitution. And then I've got the only thing I'm going to read this week that I actually wrote, which is it's not long enough to be a haiku. The curse ends with me, I shout, as I'm wheeled into the theatre for my vasectomy. and then I found a collection of John Cooper Clarke poems at work, which I stole and took home. And upon reading it, I was disappointed it didn't have my favourite John Cooper Clarke poem in it. And then I realised that my favourite John Cooper Clarke poem was actually written by Bob Mortimer as a parody. So I'm going to read that. And he puts on a John Cooper Clarke's accent when he reads it, so I'm going to try that. So apologies if it's terrible. I sit on my sofa in a pool of stale sweat. I stare at my phone at pictures of pets. I scratch at my balls with a crusty baguette. I don't want to die, not just yet. I go to my kitchen and stare in the bin. I pick out a piece of worn chicken skin that adhered itself to a baked bean tin. I don't want to die till I've been to the gym. I try to sleep, but the sofa's too wet. I light up the stub of my last cigarette. I watch Gary Barlow sing a duet. I don't want to die, not just yet. I go to my bed at 8:30. The mattress is buckling under me weight. I dwell on me debts and the folk that I hate. I'm ready to die. In fact, I can't wait. So that's me for this week.
Very good.
That was like a Geordie accent, Craig. That was awful.
Yeah, the accent wasn't right.
The content was okay, though.
The content was good. It sounded more like Bob Mortimer than John Cooper Clarke.
I thought it was a bold attempt at the accent. I thought it was not good, but acceptable. You got the long vowel sounds.
Yeah.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
He
Great.
didn't hesitate or put a foot anywhere out of place, but it was just wrong.
It's good to have you guys back.
Kind of like that.
It's funny that you should bring up John Cooper Clarke, because I might have something in the style of John Cooper Clarke near the end, but you'll have to wait and see.
We can see whose accent's better.
Yeah. Susan, follow that.
I thought your accent was okay, Craig. That wasn't it. Okay, so I did this. So sorry. I have got a few poems published in this, which is The Unpredicted Spring, which is lockdown poetry, which the Norman Nicholson Society have produced. So hurrah, yay. Which you've all heard them before, I think, because I have read them out here before. But I will take the opportunity to read another one out, and then I've got another poem as well. So this one's called Emerging. I am 2 meters from the only other person who is with me on our walk, which feels rebellious or somehow dangerous, as if we are now unsure if what we do, a simple act of walking, is allowed. But while we agonized and stood apart and stayed alone and masked and watched the clear blue skies and heard the bird song, life went on. And greenery has claimed the barren earth, and flying insects flit amongst the dancing stems. And in the water, alien creatures metamorphose undisturbed by net or plastic tub. And everywhere is full of life and verdant in this lost words world, which I have found once more. And me and my walking partner, 2 meters behind me, find that life which finds a way continues undisturbed, welcoming back those who gently tread, emerging slowly, like a nymph, becoming other in a new world, behind our masks feeling somehow lost, but finding ourselves once more, we find the words to say, this world is beautiful. And then there's another poem about the same place, because it's Gosling Syke, which I'm writer in residence, even though I haven't really been resident there, writer in residence for. So I go there occasionally just to see that it hasn't exploded or something, and try and write some poetry about it. So there's one here which was, I think it was a really snowy, frosty day, and the whole park was iced over, and it was great. So anyway, right. My shadow long in slanting sun casting forth before me, shadows left behind of different suns, I foray forward, over ankle-turning fossil holes, once carved, now frozen, filled and covered over with insubstantial individual crystal fingerprints. I fly on dragon wings, my body hot from walking, melting snowflakes as they land, as I survey my treasure. Tread the boundaries of ice, plant the first of many footsteps for this year, ice-held secrets, busy transfiguring into foundlings, sentry guards of spiky frozen fur on lifelines given to support this new world. There is stillness and calm as the snow falls, and the only sound, my crunch of boot in a quiet world. I got that out before I coughed. Mute myself for a big cough then.
Cool. All right. Was there another one, or was that?
Well, yeah, it's weird because when it was Becca said about Tony writing about Trump, and I thought, oh my God, he just like wind on a thigh, he's gone, you know, and it's weird. I'm not even. It's like it's not even on the register anymore, you know. It's just gone. So I just thought, oh my God,
It might be like Arnie. He'll be back.
I thought you said like Ernie then. Is that with Bert or with Walkman Wise?
He's the same
Arnie.
with Bert and Ernie.
Hopefully not.
What? Anyway, so I just penned a quick limerick. Biden succeeds to first man and reverses each craven Trump plan. I had almost forgot about 4 years lost plot. Hope the Gale receives the whole clan. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Good. Wonderful. Thank you. David, hello. What have you got for us?
Lost in picture. Right. I don't think I have read this one before. I've blown the dust off it. It came into my mind this week, really, for a reason which I shall explain. In another life that I lived some while ago, I was a member of the St. Andrew's Society in a country quite a long way away from here, which had this society because it had quite an affinity with things British. So the city that I lived in had this St. Andrew's Society, and it met once a year for a dinner. It was not Burns Night, but it combined Burns Night with St. Andrew's Day. The two are linked by Scotland, obviously. Now, Burns Night, being in January, was in the middle of the summer in that country. St. Andrew's Day, the 30th of November, was towards the end of the year, and people were still at work, so it was possible to have a dinner. By chapter accidents, I found myself appointed by order or invitation of the chieftain of this society, bard to the local St. Andrew's Society. The one function that I discharged was that I had to write a poem to recite at the dinner every year. And because the chieftain was a large and florid Scotsman, I was once, and he was very keen on golf, I was inspired by his person to pen this poem, which is called The Ballad of Magnus MacHunk, or A Golfer's Lament. Now, I apologize most sincerely and very humbly to George and any other Scots person in this gathering for my even worse Scottish accent than the version of John Cooper Clarke that we heard earlier, which I thought was actually very good. Here we are, The Ballad of Magnus MacHunk. Big Magnus MacHunk, the scourge of the links, one day at the bar had had a few drinks. He shouldered his clubs and called to his caddie, "Come on now, wee Jimmy, look lively, young laddie. Take my wee bag and gang wait at the first. I'm away for a pee, or else I shall bust." He came out of the gents, strode up to the tee, and gazed down the fairway as tall as a tree. He took up his driver and practiced his swing, then hit the ball, it went wi' a ping, as straight as a die, then curved to the right, sailed down the ravine and way out of sight. He fared little better on hole number 2. He stepped in a cowpat, got sand in his shoe, bunkered his tee shot, got stuck in a hedge, and couldn't get out with iron or wedge. His approach on the 3rd went over the green, and way down the 4th, too far to be seen. On 5 and on 6, it got worse and worse. He dug up the divots and started to cuss. The bunkers and hazards, they got in his way. Nothing went right. It just wasn't his day. His drive on the 7th, by a stroke of bad luck, went straight down a foxhole. And Magnus said, damn. From tee number 8, he went over the trees and into the water way over his knees. He fished out the ball and slipped on the grass. And losing his balance, he fell on his back. His face, it went red, the air, it went blue, as curses were uttered that never I knew. From tee number 9, he hit into the rough. He yelled at his caddie, that's more than enough, forget the back 9, I'm having no more. Just clean up the clubs, don't tell me my score. I'm giving it up, I'd rather watch rugger. There's no doubt about it, this golf is a very frustrating game to play.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant.
I did once play golf with a very drunk Scotsman. And to my chagrin, he could barely stand up, and he beat me for the first 9 holes in every hole. And then he said, I've had enough, on my way back to the bar. And he could barely stand as he was going round, but by God, he could hit it.
There are some like that.
Fantastic. Okay. Did you have another one, David, or is that all we're getting this evening?
I do have another one if you want it now.
Yeah, okay, we'll do one more.
This is it's just before the lockdown. There was some foul weather back at the beginning of last year. We have a son and daughter-in-law and a granddaughter who live in Chester. We occasionally go down to see them. This was the last time we went down there. The weather was foul and trains were disrupted on the West Coast main line. So we had quite a lot of sitting around between trains. And sitting in the waiting room at Warrington Bank Quay, looking around, this is what came to me. It's called Waiting Room. Red and shades of grey, impassive passengers waiting in a void of suspended time. Trains delayed, timetables disrupted. The aftermath of Storm Kira. The storm of the century. Inflated claim with 80 years to go. Dismantled climate, all upside down. Torrential rain and biting wind, upsetting our dependence on time and space. Timetables, schedules set in stone. Fixed, immutable, except when weather cries havoc and lets slip the dogs of chaos. While we, all passive victims, await our fate, rustle pages of our newspapers, attend to tinkling phones and anxious questions. Where are you? When will you be home? Did you forget the meeting? Or instructions, once essential, now of no importance. Don't forget the milk. Wait outside the station. Fine. But when will I arrive, a victim of delay? There's nothing we can do but wait, inactive pawns among the red and shades of grey. Warrington Bank Quay Station is not the most exciting place on this planet. One has to do something while you're sitting there, write the odd poem.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it was of inspiration.
Warrington Bank Quay Station, no, it's not the most exciting place. No, it isn't. You're absolutely right, David. But when you're travelling on, it makes a difference.
Oh, it does, yeah. No, it does.
When you're travelling on, it makes a difference. It's a stopping point.
Yes, it does make a difference. You're right. It is a stopping point.
Is anybody ever sorry?
And also, I mean, when you look around at a place like that, it does acquire a sort of excitement because you're looking at it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Maybe there should be a compilation of work produced from the station.
David, when way back when I was an art student, I did a project about looking up.
Yeah.
And I literally made stickers that said "look up" with an arrow. And I traveled the UK putting stickers around places like train stations, town centres, local tourist spots, saying "look up."
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because that gives us a link. In one of my previous lives, I was headmaster of a school, and the end of year ceremony for the leavers, I used to build a poem into my end of year speech. Usually, well, I think every time except one, it was a poem that somebody else had written. Or just one time was one that I'd written, and that was called "Look Up." It began, "Look up, look forward," encouraging these people who were stepping out of secondary education into something else to look forward to what was coming next.
Exactly. And this is why that I made those little stickers. Ridiculously small action, but going around the country and putting those stickers in little places, even in Carlisle, me putting those stickers, "look up," I got feedback saying I didn't realize how beautiful the buildings were in the centre of Carlisle.
Yeah,
I was going along looking up and I fell down a manhole, so that didn't work.
Look out!
Like Mr. Bean.
Look down, I said.
Look up, look down, look out, look about. There's always stuff to see. It's amazing.
Simple, small words. Simple, small words can make a massive difference. A huge difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, David, what you've just read really held true to me. Yeah, I love it.
Fantastic. Cool. Okay. James, what have you got for us?
Oh shit, is it that time already?
Yes, it is.
Can you hear me all right? Because
yeah.
My microphone's like sat this far away from me, and it looks like I should be holding it here. But if you can hear me, that's fine. I've not written anything in ages, and I've not been to SpeakEasy in ages. And I wonder if the two are kind of like linked, because in the last couple of days, knowing that I would come, I've spaffed out a few quick things. So I'm going to read two quick things that I've written in preparation for this, bearing in mind I haven't written anything in a while. And the first one sounds like this. Ease him back in. Don't force the mechanism. You never got round to learning how it works, so be gentle. This is rehab, therapy, re-establishing the old ways with the light of new information, illuminating the palimpsest, where you'll try and make the same marks as before, different imperfections this time, different triumphs this time. It will hurt when it's not instant. Impatience will pull you by the sleeve away. Resist and miss out the pain of the atrophied muscle, frozen into inflexibility down the line. There should be some discomfort. The second one.
That was great. Really good.
The second one is even shorter. Pick apart the deficiencies, wishbones full of rot. Divine the shards for arbitrary patterns, like constellations joined dot by dot, to see what's wrong in a world where wrong is nothing but a tag tacked on by children in the dark, several senses short of ever getting light. And that's all of them. Thank you.
The reason I put the heart on my picture at the end of your first one was because it's the first time I think I've heard the word palimpsest used in a poem, and I love it.
Oh, no way. I love the word palimpsest. It's really fun. It's got so many P's in it. And thank
I've
you.
used palimpsest before, but not for a long while.
That was great. It's good to have you back, man. It's been a while. We've missed you. And I know you recorded those poems for the Fryram project, which was great. And but I miss you saying pause, pause, pause between each poem in real life.
I should have said that. I'll say pause now if you want. Just pause.
All right.
Pause.
Thank you. Cool. All right, Kevin, we're with you. Pause, 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 pause.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can. Fantastic.
Thank goodness for that. Yeah. Okay. This is called "Am I Made of Glass?" How can I say this? I say, if no one listens. Lips move, I can see that. But am I made of glass? Can I hear them? Who? Anyone? What do they think? Should I say something? What about? What can I say? An accident, of course. What can I say? I can say an accident. Will they believe me? They are moving on. They never saw me. How sad. One of them pointed at me, I thought, for a while. She pointed and then moved on. I am waiting. No reason. Why are you here? They could have said that, but they didn't. They didn't see me. I am made of glass. Night bus. I remember. Empty doorways, crumpled paper, empty bottles, broken glass, reflections in the windows. Looking over my shoulder. Must move on. What was she pointing at? It wasn't me. Who were they? I don't know them. I had a dog once. His name was Springer. But then I moved. Dogs not allowed. Do you understand? They're over there now, waiting for the night bus. They can't see me. Reflections. Clever, I know. I'm made of glass.
Great stuff. Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have another one, Kevin, or is that?
No, sorry, I was working on one, but it hasn't come up.
next time. There's next time. Okay.
Yeah.
Jason said he'd got one. Have you got one for us, Jason?
Yeah, this wasn't planned, but backstory. I'm a full-time student at the moment, and during the first lockdown, shall we say, the semester we were supposed to do something created from scratch, and we had to turn it on its head from being a performance piece in person to writing stuff. So if you remember back in the 90s, the band The Eels, and they had a song called Susan's House. I basically pinched his structure and wrote this called Morning Run. Okay, so going on my morning run, jogging east up Briar Bank, weaving my way past the turnstile. The birds are singing their cheerful morning song, oblivious to the human world around them. Some people still say that it's fake news. Going on my morning run, it's gonna make it right. Down by the playing field, a chocolate Labrador is taking a dump. His owner looks on dejectedly. In a final act of indignity, the owner stoops down to pick up the mess. He tries not to breathe in while he ties the handles of the bag. Meanwhile, an old couple eye me with suspicion. They stop in their tracks and wait for me to jog past. Going on my morning run, it's my daily delight. Take a left on Lowry Park. A kid cycles towards the slide. Silhouettes of walkers on the field in the glare of the low sunshine. I pass windows filled with fun-coloured rainbows. Here approaches another runner, her long ponytail following. She keeps moving directly at me. Her sunglasses give nothing away. And I'm thinking, she's going to cross over. She's going to cross over, right? She turns a corner and I keep running, going on my morning run. That's it.
That was great. Fantastic. Thanks, man.
All right.
And you see, you thought you were just going to be an observer, but you got drawn into sharing stuff. That's great.
Yeah, it's the wine.
Yeah, yeah, that happened. Cool. Okay, we've got about 6.5 minutes. I might just do this little story from, if that's okay. Okay, no one's greatly objecting. This is the next installment in the long-running, super exciting series Kung Fu Penguin that we were introduced to a hero for our times last summer, and this is the next. I can see there's some fans already reacting to it, so here we are. Episode 4. Kung Fu Penguin and DIA Snow Leopard returned to the Purple Gerbil nightclub. The detective met the rat in security. I want to see the manager, she announced sternly. Please come this way. The police officer strode into the small, dimly lit room. Behind the desk sat a shady figure. Detective Snow Leopard, what an unpleasant surprise, muttered the vole in dark glasses. Your raid last night upset quite a few customers. The detective noticed the white figure on the desk. She picked it up. Let's talk about the cocaine you've been smuggling inside these porcelain figures. Whether a rabbit or a duck, it's not relevant. Selling illegal narcotics is a crime, said the police officer sternly. Don't know what you're talking about, officer. That's just a fancy paperweight. It was empty, just a figurine. She replaced it on the desk. This is harassment. I'm just a businessman. Just leave me alone. Meanwhile, Kung Fu Penguin noticed a familiar-looking figure at the bar. Keys, the piano player, right? Oh, hi, my friend. Got a bit hairy last night, huh? What are you doing with the cops? Looking for clues. Seems that kid had been mixed up in smuggling. Found a load of figurines which could fetch quite a price out on the street if you catch my drift. We think there's a connection to the Purple Gerbil. Maybe. I remember seeing some shipments being unloaded by the kid who got his comeuppance when we got our gear shipped over from the States. If you want your answers, I suggest you visit the docks. I suspected he didn't mean the local GP, but rather the port. Detective Snow Leopard appeared. I could tell from her demeanor things hadn't gone well. Well, we maybe got a clue. There could be a trail down at the shipping port where the kid worked. Okay, let's make that our next destination, the detective decided quickly. A somewhat disheartened Officer Snow Leopard and Kung Fu Penguin left the premises. Back in the office, the manager picked up his phone and dialed a number. Yes, boss, answered a gruff voice. Get Razor Bill and the asthmatic assassin on the case, snapped the vole. I want a hit put out on Detective Snow Leopard and that meddling Kung Fu Penguin. I want them out of the picture, causing no more headaches for me. Use whatever method you want to. They could be buried at sea. Ain't important how you do it. I've really got no cares. There's so many chances for accidents. They could fall down the stairs. Chop them into little bits. Mix them into concrete. Fire them out of a cannon. Bury them under the street. Waste that no-good Kung Fu Penguin And that nosy cop. Got no preference how you do it. I just want it all to stop. Down the other end of the line, a voice just muttered, "Okay, boss." Will our heroes dodge this deadly peril? Find out next time. And there you are. That's the latest installment. Right. Thank you. We've got about 2.5, well, just under 2.5 minutes. I wondered, did Becca want to read Alan's stuff, or do you want? Should we stop and sign back in, and then you can start with Alan's?
It's quite a long one, not like ridiculously long, but probably a bit longer than 2 minutes. But thank you. And
Well,
also, I need to dry my tears of laughter.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
I love your accents.
You're very sweet.
Like Ray Winston as a vole. It's great.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Well, we'll use the same login and password and sign back in, and I'll see you in a second. Okay. See you soon.
Anyone got any good jokes?
Only bad jokes.
Blue.
That's been really
Found
good.
another in my series of strange superheroes while walking around. There was a sign up in I can't remember what the area is called, like Petrol Street area, River Street area. For ages, it was like a construction man there advertising their wares, but his name was Dick Man.
Yes! Oh my God, that's just across the road from me. I love it. He does railings.
It's gone now.
Dick Man forever.
Yeah, Dick Man, but the sign's
Gonna
gone
get
now.
railed, see Dick Man.
I know, but he's gone now. And then when I was in the doctor's one time, right at the back of the thing, there was a provider of rubber gloves, but it was Glove Man. And then so just over the weekend, I saw Gate Man. If you want to get access to the works area, contact Gate Man. I thought, oh, what superheroes do all these people have? You know, so these, every time I see something man, it's always, you know, trying to work out what superpowers they have and stuff.
Oh,
I think those guys are going to struggle to get into the Avengers, to be fair. Like,
hey, don't knock the superpowers of Gate Man. If you have a wall that is impenetrable, it's called the sky. Yeah, so
He should open a few doors for you at least.
oh, thank you.
And
Yeah,
here's
so
like another 20 people that'll keep an eye out for various other men or women for you.
it's brilliant. It's like, you know, like seeing faces in things, which I do as well, which has got a name for, and I can't remember.
Anadolia.
That's the one.
I did hear that Donald Trump brought out a new wine. The only problem is it's made with sour grapes.
So, James, what was the word for finding faces and things?
Pareidolia.
Oh, one more time.
Pareidolia.
Thank you. Pareidolia. Yeah, that's my life.
Apparently that's some kind of
unusual
condition
word,
or something. You know,
Oh, right. I see. I do it all the
Okay.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe it's a
I thought
creative thing.
Yeah, I thought it was a sign of like higher brain function, right?
Oh, clearly.
You're being very kind. I was going to say a sign of being a loony, but okay, higher brain function, definitely.
While Becca's finding faces and things, I'm stopping her from getting run over.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, there's a truck coming.
You need a
Oh, is that a
person
penguin?
who-
Is that a penguin in the tarmac?
Yeah.
But there's koalas hidden in, you know, the big grates, the big square grates in the pavements. There's always like a koala hidden in the middle of it. So have a look next time.
Thanks for that. I've not noticed a koala specifically.
No, I need to go and look for that tomorrow.
You see a big square grate on the ground, and there's always a koala right in the middle of it.
Excellent.
Great, even.
John, why did your hand raised?
Welcome to Poets and their seeing faces in things. Becca, did you have words for us?
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was just like, keeping the chat going.
No,
while
it's
I was gonna
great.
sign back
I
in.
like it.
Anyway, so
Is your own?
No, God no. Who do you think I am? Who writes poetry? Honestly. So this is a poem. Alan John Stubbs asked me to read something for him because he sort of ends up with tech difficulties, I think, is the issue. And I really love his poetry. I read a couple from his newest collection, Sound About Hot, last some kind of autumny winter time. But this one he wrote, I think it was end of November, and it's just perfectly wintry. It's got some delicious phrases in it as well. I absolutely love it. Right. So, analysis. When she is winter, the last poppy to flower flowers, the colour of her hair, with skirts of flame that appear cooled by blue borage growing amidst a weave of green stems. The spines making a tangle sky whose stars are those yellow florets he has no name for. Though he can't feel it, there is hot in this cold, for a furnace softens fallen fruit that seems to dissolve, lose themselves, melting into ground even as they seed dunnocks and voles who trouble the still air into dryly friable iterations of leaf sound. When she is winter, and everything gathers itself in, biting down to a core of rotting or rooting deeper. He is sustained, as he must be, and waits for her, for whoever she will be when the dark is over and tempered trees fatten the air. Look, there are pale gills forming on a tree that has fallen across the stream, adapting itself to breathe. It has been caught shape-shifting from a straitjacket carcass to the unpellucid fruiting flesh that will serve to offer itself to the live earth. When she is winter, what were trees sprout rugby player ears. The uprising, dry-scooped fungoid inflations are joyous celebrants of decay, of an unending use of what is adjoining, whose earth sparks life from life, health from death. When winter happens, he is possessed, as always, by her pragmatic carrying, and can only concentrate, as everything does, on waiting out all of those transformations that will surely come, that she has prepared in the cold, cold calm and raging storm. When she is winter, he empties hollows like the dead trees whose center, eaten away, provokes swampy ground and stopped streams that go nowhere, that he cannot see into. And waiting, he is consumed by the waiting, waiting for. She is winter, and the stones are young again. Cultivating moss, they are moss-bound, claimed by green, and it seems that what has been effused hardens under a leaf-fall surface, as roots wait to spring those inward days that coalesce. She sculpted a fireplace of the bole of an oak, set dry leaves in the hole for kindling, and the body of the tree hunches over, shielding itself, from what grotesque it may become in the half light of the little gloaming she made. He is unfocused, being where the sun-baked, wind-whipped, scale-limbed lichen rusts to deep folds cast to a brace of raw, boned, hulking trees that lean, befuddled, close in and murmurous. When she split the body, starting decay, with a fissure hyphae run like a maze, spreading and sharing, and what is reborn bursts apart with all the energy of the nuclear. Forges we call stars. She is winter, and there is no stable state, only flux, lighting bare branches of ash and oak, beech and birch in unmediated skies, where hope breathes silences of ice. Thank you.
Brilliant. That was absolutely terrific. Thank you very much. Great. We got next. Ross, have you got something for us, Ross?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Hi everyone. I wasn't actually going to read this, but was inspired sort of before the lovely kind of eels reference for one, and then the kind of conversation about kind of looking up when you're in the cityscape, as it were. It made me think of Glasgow, where I used to live. Absolutely beautiful kind of architecture there, and this is a poem I wrote a wee while ago about a record shop in the Merchant City in Glasgow, and it's called The Lost World. Off Trongate, I rediscover youth through a descent into the well-known. Cobwebs, steep steps, suggest the need for a flaming torch of adventure. Their cave-like dwelling place, long players form bulky stalagmites, bared covers catch the eye in my own analog paradise. Dust clouds a naked bulb, filtering the low, low tungsten glow. The shelves of fading pine creak and moan under the heavy load. Close odours in my system pushed, dampened wood against bloated cardboard. Grime upon layers of settled dust should repel, instead it lures. Amid condemned tenements of coal-black vinyl, mint or scratched, with disregarded liner notes like captive emotions embedded in wax. That satisfying sonic swoosh, as a memory, it is unsheathed. The gleam of light on black reveals a spell about to be released. From stacks of future lovers, those cold, scalextric grooves, the uniform, circling contours, give lie to depths infused. I breathe in the thick air, smile in my subterranean lair, and pity the digital slaves above. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Conjured up that world of vinyl. Yeah. Cool. Have you got another one?
Yeah, I've got one more. It's another kind of musical one. It's quite short as well. And it means I'm not going to get my guitar out, which I thought about, but my wife was like, don't put people through that. So this is a poem cleverly titled The Guitar. It's a response to a poem by Federico Lorca. It was an exercise I did with some pals a wee while ago, but yeah, The Guitar. Like a bowl of display fruit, left untouched there, unwanted, brought to rot, the old duffer shot to shit. He lies angular, close, but not too close to the burgeoning radiator. Hooked up to his life support gear on a slave's lead, a ballpoint in a bank. Steel pickups trapped behind bars, undying, still on standby, for chances of another cool jerk, like in the lame kitchen of last year, gone away to lose another fortune on the deceptive dogs. I'll play you a tune recycled from memory. My ex taught me this without a shred of irony. Curl my tortured fingers into formations thought forgotten, as colourless rainbows they hang, autumnal carcasses in summer's bleeding fang. Pal, you outlived Ignacio, dying on his arse in the sand. You outlived Cobra Verd, struggling alone in the surf. And you'll outlive me too, for whatever it's worth. Thank you.
That was great. Next time you can play the guitar as well, yeah? Oh, it'd be fine. It'd be good. That was great. Thank you very much. Savannah, we're with you. Hello.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I've got a piece of prose poetry and I've got a poem as well, if that's okay.
Fantastic.
The prose is a bit longer than I usually do, but I've been working on it, so I thought I'd read it out. So like Kelly, I find the Holocaust Remembrance Day quite important. Being Romani, it's definitely important in my family to remember it. And I think that mostly everyone here has heard this poem, but I wanted to read it again because it's one of my favorite and it is definitely close to home. So on a day like this, she pressed every fingertip on her last child's shoulder, as her arms were the locket clasp pinned to every youngest nerves. The hand fell short not a day ago. Stood next to her was the other 5. Her first is under churned soil, not where the family has been, as water separates them further from that place they knew. Decades in time, her children's grandchildren are told they do not belong on this land. Thank you. And then this is my prose. It has a little bit of Italian in it, but I have translated it just in the title. And this is from when I was lucky enough to go to Rome in the summer. And going around Rome, you notice that a lot of it hasn't changed since its decay during World War II, and it hasn't been replaced or mended well. And so, like with the lockdown as well, with the streets being empty, it felt very much similar how it's depicted for American soldiers when they defeated Italy in 1945. So this is what this is about. Roma. Nell'agosto 2020, sorry, I haven't said it in a while. 1945. In August 2020 or August 1945. As I stand where you did, soldier, I wonder what you saw. Stood on the ground to look up at the levels of the Colosseum. The slope of Roman brickwork, from 4th to 1st floor. Across the street, the household stairs baked in the sun. The walls crumble around with wallpaper, as the skin that connects the wound. But the Colosseum is withered decay. The house's missing parts are freshly cut. Cement to sand with rainfall cover cracks in the walls from your time here, soldier. How did you roam Rome? There was your kind in dark green and helmet shot up, so no one stared at you with your knee-length dress. Instead of people, there's soldiers on the cobbles today, you must see. It takes me back to your time. That's that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, that must have been quite something to see it in lockdown. That would have been very eerie and strange.
Yeah, like literally there was no one around. Like we could go around, I think most of it, even the Trevi Fountain was quite empty when we went, which is quite rare, like obviously because it's Rome. And in particular I think it's the Fatherland. It's like a big building and it's made out of marble. I think it's in dedication to their victory in World War I. There's a picture where we stood, and then where the soldiers were, the American ones, when they defeated Italy and came into Rome. And I remember looking at this picture and I was like, oh, it's so similar to my experience of Rome, because my experience hasn't been like maybe the normal experience for the past 75 years, where there's loads and loads of tourists, where I was lucky enough that most of the streets were empty, and it had Italian soldiers on the streets as well, obviously patrolling for COVID.
Yeah. Oh, that's a clever parallel. Yeah, you brought it to life brilliantly for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Chris, have you got something for us?
I do.
Cool.
I've been doing quite a lot of artwork on Solway, and this kind of came out of it. Just the first 2 lines really came to my mind, and then it all came out of that. Called Walking the World. On the Solway, so flat and otherworldly, I walked, remained fixed in space. The sea, the sand, the storm approaching over glass and moss moved past me as I rotated the earth with my feet. Looking closely and photographing, I moved slowly, but on my turn and return to Brauhauser's walking faster, the same thing occurred. The white windmills in the sun sped towards me. The earth turned under me like a ball under a circus dog. In the Renault, it stopped, feet no longer on the floor, so the pedals, ABC, were depressed, and the car sped past Metalbridge and the services back to Brampton and my house. In the house, out of my boots, in slippers, the crockery in the cupboard rattled and chinked with each step. I toyed with a short sprint. The milk in the jug rocked like a storm in a milk jug. The teacups were the same. Tea sloshed over the rim, little waves on a bone china shore. I filled the bath, and on walking from the bog, a tsunami formed. I walked the dog round the block, and the planet rolled in a raggedy right turn, the size and shape of my neighbourhood, back to where it started. I sat still at last to watch the news. Natural disasters around the world, unexplained tectonic movements unforeseen by experts. I went to bed. I awoke and it had gone. I moved, the earth did not. I returned to the subway to seek the spot where it happened, and in its vastness, the spot was gone. But somebody someday will find it and the earth will move again. That's it. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you very much. All right. Jeanette, hello.
Hello. Right, I've got two very short poems and a tiny little haiku, if that's okay. Last week I was quite lucky, there's two new anthologies out and I've managed to been lucky enough to get poems in them. The first one's Brimstone by Under the Wires, and the poem is called Muddied Water. Take the glasses off to read. Falling, flailing in the muddy puddle of your memory, caught in circles of dark, disturbed water, wading and wallowing, splashing, surfacing in the clearing puddle of your memory, I find forgotten rivulets, revealing rainbows, and my reflection. That's one. And the other one, I don't even know how to say it, I think it's Ilagrypho Press. And it's called The Lost Shed, and this is just one I kind of knocked up one Saturday afternoon. It's a bit random. They broke down all his cladding the day they dismantled his shed. They robbed him of his shelf space, stole the bolts that held his head. He sits now cold in hot tub where his castle used to stand, inhaling memories of creosote and his work that he once planned. That's that one. And the haiku, as it's Holocaust Memorial Day, and I know the theme this year is it Light in the Darkness? So here we go. Rising from darkness with hope for humanity, a candle flickers. That's me.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Richard, we're with you. Hello.
Yeah, good evening. The other day, apparently we hit 100,000 deaths in the UK, which is nothing particularly to be proud of. And I was prompted to write something about what I call the third lockdown. No disguising, death rates rising. We're in a third lockdown. Funeral pyres, vax deniers, and ravers going to town. No in-between, get your vaccine. Shift R rates below 1. The death knoll toll for weak and old. You have to curb your fun. No need to ask, just wear your mask. Now the height of fashion. Learn facts, not lies, and sanitize your hands with a passion. No kids in class, the pubs are farce. The country's in a mess. The high street's dead, but use your head, protect the NHS. So make a start to play your part, that's so academic. It's no one's fault, but we must halt this global pandemic. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other day I was thinking, oh, it's nearly time to do Speakeasy again. This is Monday, I think. And I hadn't written anything recently that I thought, oh gosh, I better write something else. So this is about writer's block, really, which I don't normally get, but it's called Something Better. It must be a sign of something better if I can sit down and write a letter. There are 26 to choose from. Absurd. Tomorrow I may complete a whole word. It's amazing as I take stock, a slight race against the clock. Keep writing, the mind to unlock. It's the only cure for writer's block. Then if one small word leads to a second, I'll make a sentence before you reckoned. I may have to stifle a laugh as I reach the end of a paragraph. It's amazing as I take stock, a slight race against the clock. Keep writing, the mind to unlock. It's the only cure for writer's block. For days I have remained lost in my thoughts, played music, seen films, and even watched sports. My muse ran off. There's no way to get her. Tomorrow I hope for something better. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I think we've all been there.
Well, yes, it's tough when you get there, but there you go.
Yeah, keep on writing.
James, what were you doing then?
Sorry?
What were you doing?
Just exercising demons.
How are you exercising the demons? What were you doing to them?
By kneading the puff that my legs are on like a cat might, but with my heels rather than my clawed knuckles.
I was wondering too.
I'm almost sorry I asked now, though.
I didn't realise it was visible.
It was just the knees appearing at either side. I was wondering too, but then I worked it out. Obviously demons.
Obviously demons.
Okay.
Did you say like a catamite, James?
I said I was kneading the puff beneath my feet like a cat might.
Not like a catamite then.
No, not a catamite. No. No.
Okay. Too many questions. I'm making my own answers.
Yeah, he doesn't need a puff that much.
Okay, George, can you rescue us from this nonsense?
I don't know I can rescue you, but I'm actually, as usual, when this has been doing, I changed my mind about 15 times about what I'm going to read. I suddenly thought I'll go back to this book, which is The Year of the Loch, because this reminds me of a time when you could actually just go somewhere when you felt like it and get out the car and, down by the waterside at Castle Semple Loch. So I'll do a couple from that, which are from January, which would be 2017, I think. And the first one's about white bread. I find it fascinating that you're now not supposed to feed birds bread, when I think there's generations of birds in the west of Scotland who have been brought up in crusts of bread. Because who could afford to go out and buy bird food? I mean, bird food, you gave them what you had left over. Anyway, sorry, white bread. Fattened by Christmas binge, the loch lies replete, banks scarred by its nibbling. A swan flotilla drifts majestic white on rippled mercury, ducks falling like frigates, an outer scatter of
Yeah, that was weird. I have no idea what happened there because I tried to log in 2 or 3 times and it just wouldn't have it, so I had to restart my computer. So yeah.
Of the whole internet struggling with the amount of usage it's getting just now. Because
Well,
I've had a few problems with people in Zoom meetings where, for no reason at all, suddenly their whole internet connection just disappears.
yeah, it was weird. But yeah, it's good to see you all though. I was worried.
Talking about losing the connection, the last folk night, it really cracked me up. I'm sorry, John, but Sally's husband had this massive train set in his attic, and she took us upstairs to see it. I've seen it before. I've stood in the middle of it. And somebody joined the meeting, and poor John out in the wilds in Moffat lost all his bandwidth and couldn't see the train set, which really cracked me up. Sorry, John. I am very sorry for you.
Maybe we can ask them to see the train set again next time. So
I think. Well, I messaged her, and she's keeping it very close to her chest. She's not telling anybody about it. She's not putting pictures up or anything. So
we were privileged to see the train set. I must say, it was.
I've been at the train set. I've been there. It is amazing, but I just thought it's hilarious that John got cut off just at that point. Very funny. I mean, it was very sad.
was an amazing train set. Sorry, George, I didn't. It sort of cut off just after you started ranting about.
It's all right. No, you'll be glad you missed that anyway, Phil. So don't worry. Yeah. And I didn't even sing, Phil.
Oh man. Do you want to?
We had one from Val as well, and from Ros,
Oh.
sorry, and then Val said she wasn't going to because the generator was too loud or something. She'd been taken up in her helicopter again, so yeah.
Would you mind doing them again? Because I missed them and I was supposed to record them and I haven't got them. With that, could everyone pretend that they hadn't heard them, or you could do something else? George, have you got one?
So sorry, me? You talking to Phil?
You've got one. You got one.
Sorry. Yeah. I'll go through. They're not that long, so I'll go through them quick, folks. I'll not do the boring stuff again. So this is about the year down at Loch Winnoch, at Castle Semple Loch, in the days when we were allowed to go out. White bread. Fattened by Christmas binge, the loch lies replete, banks scarred by its nibbling. A swan flotilla drifts majestic white on rippled mercury. Ducks following like frigates, an outer scatter of gulls are the corvettes. A car door cracks its warning shot, all swing in unison for the shore. They cannot have heard white bread is not a good diet, although they look in rude health as they squabble for position, snap up every crumb. Reforming the fleet, they let the breeze carry them along until the rustle of a paper bag, cry from overhead gull, speeds them towards another poisoner, immune to any danger. And I'll just go straight into the second one, Phil. Frozen torpor. Winter wildfowl, swans, geese, ducks are corralled by ice. Steady drizzle patters the car, no one to feed the birds. Coot and gull plod the frozen loch. A mallard belly flops, breaks through the ice, struggles to climb out, creating a slush-filled lade. Torpor wrapped in cold, no squabbling in the slow circling to keep a patch of clear water. The drizzle hardens to rain, a quicker rhythm on the car roof. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. It was supposed to be Ros next. Craig, did you say James is trying to get into the chat? He's not coming up on my list for some reason. Can you get him to sign out and sign back in again?
I'll get him to experiment with a few things.
No, just get him to sign out and sign back in again. All right. Owen, have you got one for us?
Let me just do the techie button pushing.
One or two, or just one?
Well, you
Just
can do
one.
two if you like.
I don't have any new ones because this lockdown thing's not really conductive for me to write much. So one's from really long ago, from this out of the box. Don't know if you remember this, Phil. This pinhole camera thing. 2007, 2008 from the Cumbria Institute of the Arts. So this is actually not too bad considering it's that old. So this is into the city. This is walking into Carlisle just after Christmas in 2007, I think. Into the city. Sweet, mad, lonely, and happy with despair, I hit the streets like a magnet, trying to find the everyday iron of this crammed and cluttered world. But it's a dangerous place out there. No place at all for persons with imaginary disorders. Man-made metaphors lurk round every corner, Similes hide on rooftops ready to drop in like spiders in spoilery fall. And damn it, even half-drowned shopping carts have hidden agendas. Implicit secrets whisper from the reeds at the river's edge, and I dare not look to where the sun sets, lest I find some form of blood-red flower blooming like an H-bomb over clotted, cloud-creamed hills. So I keep my eyes on the concrete, cherish small wonders of the city, the charm of chip-scatter pollocks splayed across the pavement, majesty of Coke can crushed by the wheels of a truck. Cloth cat flaps across the square like an injured bird. And all around, Christmas falls from favour. Lights are lowered, illuminated ships stop rocking, trees are taken off in trucks, fates unknown. And while its leash pal craps on the pavement, a small white dog yaps orders as an angel, who glides down from heaven on a pale blue rope and folds away her hardboard wings around another nonsense poem, stolen from the city's twilight gallery like a bracelet from a broken jeweller's window.
That was great. Thank you very much.
This one's from last year. I don't think I've ever read the whole thing at SpeakEasy before because it was written in parts. The year before last? This is from 2019, Christmas. I wrote it for Bob Reynolds' Arachne Press thing in, where was it, Maryport. And the theme was time and tides, and I managed to cobble something together at the last minute. I worked on it for about a week, so things have changed since then. This is called Ways to Enter the Water. Part 1, The Ocean Always Wins. While he is young and knee-high to a mackerel, he runs to meet the ocean. Always the same approach, that headlong dash, arms waving, wild ecstatic, down to where the waves collapse. White water rasps against the back wash, and the sea, like boiling glass, slides across the sand. Then, the sudden stop, freeze-framed as though the day's projection stuttered, then released him to this quick retreat, cat-footed, stumbling backwards, eyes fixed on the chasing lipper sea from which he never turns away, but watches, bewitched, as newly printed footsteps, smeared by the racing water's rise and inevitable return, become ghosts, then slowly disappear. In this way, bare feet teasing the tide's reach, he makes a wager with the waves, so that each time the water reaches up to touch another unwet part of him, first toes, then ankles, knees, hips, and navel, he wades a little further out, until bit by gradual bit, as the ocean slowly owns him, he gives himself over to the joy and the pleasure and the fright of it. Part 2, the epic. Pre-dawn in a car park by the Western Ocean, waves crumble on the shoreline. From a toilet block entranceway beside overflowing bins, draped with the debris of a dolphin-shaped inflatable, flensed and flag-like flapping in the wind, wrecked fluorescents flicker out a signal, weak as starlight to ships and seals passing in the distant semi-dark. A car door slams like a gun going off. From an Argo made of light, leather, glass and lacquered steel, engine humming, heater set to overdrive. The only remaining member of the crew, stripped and shoeless, sprints across the tarmac, leaps Olympian the fence perimeter, and scrambles down the narrow strand. Pebbles crack and clatter in his wake. There is a kind of bravery in this haste, this rush towards experience, that knows the coming cold will take away his breath, blue lips, pimple skin, shriveled taut the softest parts, the same way Michelangelo showed how David fared as he stood before Goliath. Hero-toned, lithe and loose, he casts aside an old approach. No more games to play with waves, no childlike hesitations. Legs wheeling, chest pointed prow-like towards the vast horizon, he carves a spattering path through the vanguard of the waves, and with one giant leap skyward, sleek as a swallow through the high wild air, dives beneath the barreling surf. The ocean swallows him whole. But unlike Jonah in the belly of the whale, or countless other tall tales told, his captor creature cannot keep him down, and blazing in the burnished light, dawn's first flecks wrapped around his nakedness, He bursts from the surface of the freezing hammered brine, skin and soul electrified. Stealer of the ocean's flame, a human torch, he glows Promethean. Part 3, Ebb Tide. Midnight. Silence almost complete. Just the kiss of wave on rock, gentle as a lover's touch after storms are spilled and spent. Maelstrom calm to murmurs, the echoes of desire. At the rock pool's lip, he slips all bones beneath the moon-skimmed skin, slides right down till his lips taste brine. Salt-kissed, four-eyed, joined to the mouth, into his own inverted twin, thoughts slow to limpet speed. The water's mirror once more stills, and he sees inside himself the world outside. Stars and satellites arc above, gravity's passengers voyaging in the blue dark. As all around life hums and skitters, swims and hovers, wavers in the wind, whispers, hermit crab, herring gull, gutweed, anemone, samphire, starfish. This is where everything started, where all beginnings began. Amniotic, spinning in the dark, born from nothing, heading for something. A finger click to break the silence, a spark, burgeoning, fusing in the anti-light. And when he reaches out to touch, to grasp the pool's enclosing edge, his fingers for a moment encounter nothing, save the water's slight resistance and a piece of fracturing sky. And he thinks, as he spirals in his pool of captured tide, that life was really just a case of how he chose and how he changed his ways of entering the water. That's it.
Wow, brilliant. That was excellent. Thank you very much, Owen. That was great. Okay, I've got one more to sort of round things out, and yeah, this is after John Cooper Clarke. It's called Lockdown Town. Spending all our time staying in the house, ordering food, shopping with the click of a mouse. Wailing sirens, a haunting sound. We're living in lockdown town. Lockdown town, lockdown town. Don't look now, we're in lockdown town. If you go out, you need to wear a mask. Is keeping 2 meters too much to ask? There's an horrible bug going around. You better watch out, we're in lockdown town. Lockdown town, lockdown town. Don't look now, we're in lockdown town. There's no laughter, there's no play. All our kids are locked away. Turn those smiles upside down. Don't look now, we're in lockdown town. Yeah, lockdown town, lockdown town. Don't look now, we're in lockdown town. Some say it's fake news, some say it's lies. When they catch COVID, they're in for a nasty surprise. As realization dawns in their eyes, and they frown. We're in lockdown town. Lockdown town, lockdown town. Don't look now, we're in lockdown town. Roll out the vaccination right across every nation. Essential workers make us proud. We'll sit tight in lockdown town. Lockdown town, lockdown town. There'll come a day when we can all leave lockdown town. We'll remember those lost and those who survived. Things will be different in all of our lives. Maybe some solace at last will be found when we no longer live in lockdown town. There you go. Thank you very much. I hope I got the accent close.
JCC would be proud.
yeah. I hope so. Thank you.
I thought Craig's accent was better.
I thought it was better as well. Okay, well, thank you very much. Sorry I dipped out there for a minute, but it's great to be back, and it's great to see all of you and everybody who was here earlier on. Just give yourselves a round of applause, everyone who read, everybody who listened, everybody who left before the end, and everybody who stayed to the bitter end.
Hey.
Let's give a round of applause to all the essential workers who are keeping us safe. And
weird on the tail of the essential workers thing, but thank you, Phil, for setting up Zoom.
Thank you.
What do you mean? It is essential.
Yes, actually. Yeah. You are an essential worker.
I feel like library shops should have been able to stay open because that is essential. I mean, you can't do that.
Well, yes, amen to that. Cool. Right, I have to go and do some serious editing now to pretend everything was nicely done. But yeah, there was some apologies. Fernando Smith said he's sorry he couldn't make it, but he wanted to send everybody his love, and he hopes to catch up soon. But he's just been, work has been just non-stop. So
I can imagine. Yeah.
And Barbara couldn't make it as well. So she said to say hi, and hopefully we'll see her again soon. And one or two others as well. And yeah, but yeah, we'll do it again in a month's time. We'll do Poets Out Loud next month as well. So yeah, see you soon. Okay. Well, stay safe and get home safe.
Well, thanks, Phil.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you all sometime.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.